Welcome back to BTL Productions. Today, we're going to talk about tariffs and the Ontario Premier Doug Ford's peace offering to President Trump.
All your tariffs off. I'm saying
we will pay for them. That's right.
What's in it for both sides? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute after we roll the intro. Welcome back, guys. So, in a rather interesting turn of events today, Premier Doug Ford of Ontario, where the bulk of the automotive manufacturing in Canada takes place, and has made an offer to Donald Trump that he will remove all tariffs currently imposed on the U.S. from Canada if Donald Trump does the same thing.
And I can tell you one thing. If he dropped all the tariffs, we'd have zero tariffs. We'd grow as I say, you can't unscramble the egg, you have to make a larger omelet. And I believe in the AMCAN portrait.
He went on national TV and talked about this today. And it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out for both sides. So he called this Termination Day, whereas Donald Trump calls it Liberation Day. Doug Ford called it Termination Day because it's going to hurt workers on both sides of the border. The Windsor Stellantis plant has already announced today that it will be shutting down operations for at least 2 weeks. And you can bet that other Canadian factories will be following suit. And there's layoffs happening in the U.S. as a result of this tariff war. So,
thing we want to do, because it's just, again, it's going to hurt both countries. It's going to hurt American workers. That's the last thing I want.
Nobody's going to win here. Everybody's going to have this competition to see who can out-tariff who, and nobody's going to win. The workers aren't going to win, and the consumers aren't going to win, because this tariff will be passed on to consumers in one form or another. And as in any business, when there's extra cost incurred, it's unfortunately the consumer that will suffer. So Canada and the U.S. has had the Auto Pact in place since 1965. They have an incredibly integrated network between the two countries. And it would be nearly impossible to unravel this. I mean, anything's possible. You can with time and a whole lot of money. But is it really worth it? As I've said before, tariffs are meant to level the playing field between two countries where labor is extremely cheap in one country compared to the other. Take Mexico. Tariffs on Mexico make sense because they pay their workers a fraction of what Canadian and American workers get paid. And auto parts, they cross the border multiple times, like materials, aluminum crosses the border and then crosses the border back again, and before it even becomes a part. And you get like aluminum that will be, say, transferred from Quebec into the States, turned into a piston. The piston is then moved back into Canada, where it's then put in an engine, and then the engine is moved back into the States again, as an example, and put into a vehicle for final assembly. Doug Ford made a very valid point today, in my opinion, and he says we should concentrate on a USCA deal before we worry about the USCAMC deal. What do I mean by that? I mean that the United States and Canada need to work on having a mutually beneficial deal for both countries, as we've had. However, like anything, improvements can be made, and they need to sit down and make these improvements so that both sides will benefit. Then worry about Mexico. And as Doug Ford said here, China is the real enemy, not Canada. And Trump is not a stupid man. I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he knows that that is true. And because these reciprocal tariffs were basically placed on all these other countries, entire list of countries, and not in Canada, I think he does recognize, I think that's proof that he recognizes the benefit of Canada and the U.S. working together. I mean, we have 29 critical minerals that the U.S. needs. And why would the U.S. want to go to countries like Venezuela, Middle East, or even China to get these minerals when they can get it from a country that they've had a great relationship with, a great friendship with for many years? So it just really makes sense. Now, Trump wants to appear like the strong man, doesn't want to make the first move. That's fine. Well, Doug Ford did that today and offered peace between the two countries and offered to sit down and hammer out a deal for both sides. And if they do it right, both of them are going to come out like winners. Canada will look like the winner. United States will look like the winner. Everybody will be happy. Workers will be happy. Workers don't want to be put off the job. Workers want to get back to work producing the cars for the North American population. So we need to stop this infighting among each other and make a deal. So hopefully something happens in the coming days, because this is a huge mess for workers, for consumers, for the stock market. The stock market was going squirrely today because of all the stuff going on. So let's sit down and make a deal. It can be done. We've done it in the past. And everybody can come out like a winner. Anyhow, that's my view from behind the wheel. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think a deal can be reached? Do you think a deal can be mutually beneficial to everybody? I think it can. Anyhow, as always, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.